There is a room where anyone who moves in only survives one night. This is the last video found inside that room. My name is Anne. I'm 22, and I just moved into this old, run-down apartment building. The rain was coming down hard outside, and the whole place felt damp and gloomy. The landlord, a quiet, almost nervous guy, told me only one room was available. He hesitated, avoiding my eyes. "Only room 7 is available. If you're not afraid," he said. I just laughed it off. I'm a grown man. Ghosts don't scare me. Famous last words, right? I dragged my suitcase down the hall and unlocked the door to room 7. The air inside was thick with dust, and everything was cast in shadow. In the far corner of the room, there was this old, cracked mirror. It gave me a weird feeling right away. I flipped the light switch, and as the single bulb flickered to life, the mirror on the wall swung just a little bit, like someone had just touched it. "Must be the wind," I mumbled to myself. But then I looked over and saw the window was sealed shut, completely sealed. I tried to ignore the knot tightening in my stomach. It was just an old building, I told myself. Old buildings make noises. I started unpacking, trying to make the place feel a little more like home, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Every little creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind rattling the building, made me jump. I just needed to get some sleep. Everything would seem better in the morning. That night, I finally drifted off, exhausted from the move. But it didn't last long. I remember glancing at my phone. It was 2:59 a.m. Then I heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound. Knock, knock, knock. It wasn't coming from the door or the window. It was coming from inside the wall, right next to my bed. My heart leaped into my throat. I sat bolt upright, grabbing my phone to start recording. I don't know why. Maybe I needed proof that I wasn't going crazy. I tiptoed toward the wall, phone camera pointed right at the source of the sound. As soon as I got close, it stopped. Just like that. Silence. My blood was pounding in my ears. I thought maybe it was a neighbor, so I cautiously opened my door and peered into the hallway. It was empty. The lights overhead flickered erratically, casting long, dancing shadows. There was no one there. I stepped back into my room, still recording, and for a split second, as the phone's camera panned across the room, I saw it. A dark shape, a silhouette of a person, standing in the reflection of the mirror. I spun around and flicked on the main light. The room was empty. There was nothing there. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I slowly walked toward the mirror, my own reflection staring back, pale and scared. And that's when I saw the message. It was faint, almost invisible, as if it had been written from the inside of the glass. The letters were misty, condensated. It said, "Don't sleep." I didn't sleep a wink after that. As soon as the sun came up, I started tearing the room apart, looking for any explanation. In the back of a dusty old drawer, my fingers brushed against something small and plastic. A memory card. I didn't have a camera, but my laptop had a card reader. My hands were shaking as I plugged it in. A video file popped up. I double-clicked. The video was shaky, filmed on a phone, just like I had been doing. A man, maybe in his late 20s, was looking into the camera, his face pale with terror. "If anyone finds this," he said, his voice trembling, "never stay in room 7. Every time I look into the mirror, I see someone standing behind me." He kept the camera rolling, his eyes darting fearfully toward the mirror behind him. In the reflection on the laptop screen, I saw it. A woman with long, dark hair was standing right behind him. But she wasn't in the room itself, only in the reflection. The man in the video screamed, a raw, guttural sound of pure horror, as something unseen dragged him backward, straight into the mirror. The video cut to static. I slammed my laptop shut, my mind reeling. This was real. This was happening. That was it. I had to get out. I threw my clothes back into my suitcase, not even bothering to fold them. I just wanted to leave. I grabbed my keys, my wallet, and ran for the door. I turned the handle, and nothing happened. It wouldn't open. I pulled harder, jiggling the lock, but it was stuck fast. It wasn't locked. I knew it wasn't, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in, cold and sharp. Suddenly, the table in the middle of the room slid violently across the floor, crashing into the far wall. The lights began to flicker on and off, faster and faster, like a strobe light in a nightmare. The mirror started shaking violently on the wall, the frame rattling as if an earthquake was hitting. Then, on the wall next to the door, new words started to appear, scrawled in what looked like dirt or ash. It said, "No one leaves." I made one last desperate run for the door, throwing my whole body against it, but it slammed shut in my face with a deafening boom. The force threw me backward onto the floor. The air grew heavy, thick, and suffocating. I couldn't breathe. I was trapped. A bone-chilling cold filled the room, seeping into my clothes, into my skin. It felt like stepping into a freezer. I slowly, hesitantly, pushed myself up from the floor and looked toward the mirror. My blood ran cold. I couldn't see my own reflection. All I could see was the room, empty. My reflection was gone. And then she appeared. Standing in the reflection where I should have been was a girl with long, black hair covering her face. She was standing behind me, in the reflected version of the room. She slowly lifted her head, and a small, chilling smile spread across her lips. A whisper seemed to come from all around me, a girl's voice, soft and menacing. "It's your turn." Then, impossibly, her hand pushed through the surface of the mirror. The glass rippled like water as her fingers emerged into the real room. Her hand grabbed the front of my shirt, the grip icy and impossibly strong. She started pulling me, dragging me toward the mirror. I screamed, scrambling for a foothold, but it was no use. The camera I was holding shook violently as I was pulled closer and closer to the cold, shimmering surface of the glass. My screams echoed in the small room as I was dragged into the darkness. Morning, the sun streams through the dirty window of room 7. The landlord walks down the quiet hallway, a set of keys jingling in his hand. He stops at the door and unlocks it. He pushes it open and peers inside. The room is empty. The bed is unmade. A suitcase lies open on the floor, but there's no trace of the young man who moved in yesterday. The landlord lets out a long, weary sigh. "Another one," he mutters to himself. He pulls the door closed, the lock clicking shut. The camera slowly tilts up to the number on the door. 7. In the faint reflection on the brass number plate, we can see the mirror inside the room. And inside the mirror, a new figure is trapped. It's an IT's banging desperately on the inside of the glass, his face a mask of silent, eternal panic. Bang, 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 would you dare sleep one night in room 7? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more terrifying tales. See you next time.